Hello. In this video, we will talk about the law of mentalism, the first universal law and perhaps the most fascinating of them all. According to ancient Hermetic traditions, this law states that everything begins in the mind. Reality, before manifesting in the physical world, first arises as an idea, as a thought, as a possibility. Although this statement may seem purely spiritual at first glance, modern science has discovered something surprising. The way we perceive reality is actually constructed inside the brain. At this very moment, you believe you are seeing the world exactly as it is. But neurologically, that is not what happens. Your brain does not receive a perfect copy of reality. It receives electrical signals, fragments of information, patterns of light, sound waves, chemical impulses, and then creates an interpretation. In other words, what you call reality is, to a large extent, a mental construction. Neuroscientists describe the brain as a prediction machine. It is constantly trying to anticipate what will happen next. It filters information, discards details, fills in gaps, and creates a coherent version of the world around you. This means that two people can live the same experience and interpret it in completely different ways, because what determines experience is not only the event itself, but the mind observing that event. This is exactly where the law of mentalism becomes interesting. If perception influences experience, then changing the mind can alter the way reality is lived. Modern psychology offers countless examples of this. Pessimistic people tend to notice more threats. Anxious people detect risks more frequently. Confident people see opportunities where others see obstacles. The external world remains the same, but the internal experience changes completely. There is even a brain structure called the Reticular Activating System, a network of neurons located in the brainstem, responsible for filtering millions of pieces of information that reach our senses. This system helps determine what will receive your attention. That is why, when you buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that same model everywhere. The car was always there, but your mind now considers it important. Now imagine this same mechanism acting on your goals, your fears, your beliefs, your expectations. The mind begins to search for evidence that confirms what it believes, and gradually it creates a subjective reality consistent with those patterns. Perhaps this is why so many ancient traditions insisted that mastering the mind was one of the most important skills of human existence. In ancient Egypt, Greece, and various esoteric schools, self-knowledge was believed to be the first step toward understanding the universe. The famous inscription at the Temple of Delphi stated, "Know thyself," because those who do not understand their own mind end up being governed by it. Automatic thoughts, emotional impulses, unconscious fears, patterns acquired throughout life. Modern neuroscience also shows that many of our decisions happen before we even become consciously aware of them. Many mental processes operate in the background, like an invisible system guiding behavior, habits, and reactions. This raises an intriguing question. Who is really in control? You, or the mental programs installed over the years? According to the law of mentalism, true freedom begins when you develop awareness of what happens within your own mind, when you observe your thoughts instead of simply obeying them, when you learn to question beliefs, when you replace destructive patterns with more useful ones, and when you realize that not everything you think is necessarily true. Ancient mystics believed that the human mind was a kind of microcosm of the universe, a small expression of a much greater intelligence. That is why they claimed that understanding the mind was, in a way, understanding the hidden mechanisms of reality itself. Whether this is literally true or only a powerful metaphor remains an open question. But there is something that seems undeniable. The quality of your thoughts influences the quality of your decisions. Your decisions influence your actions. Your actions shape your habits, and your habits help build your future. Perhaps this is exactly why the law of mentalism has fascinated people for thousands of years. It invites us to look inward, to investigate what we usually ignore, and to recognize that the mind is not just a tool. It can be the starting point of all transformation, because before any change happens in the external world, it usually happens first within consciousness. And perhaps the greatest power a human being can develop is learning to master their own mind.